So off we go with another car from this week's GTA Online weekly update. And this one isn't a deleted vehicle, but it is on sale. So normally 900,000, this is down to 600,000 in the GTA Online weekly update offers. So you may be wondering, why on earth am I reviewing this? And it certainly doesn't look spectacular, it doesn't drive spectacularly well, it doesn't handle particularly well. So this is the Dinka Postlude, which is based on the Honda Prelude. And there are a couple of reasons I've done this. Both of them are personal, really. So the first is you have to go back to the 80s to really realise how good this car was back in the day, as it were. So back in the 80s, in the UK, we were driving things like this. And this. And yeah, do you know what? They would usually get you to where you needed to go, but they were rubbish. They were absolutely rubbish. And then in the 70s and 80s, people like Honda came along. And what these new Japanese manufacturers decided is that it would be really good if the cars that you bought from them started. You know, like every time. They thought that would be an interesting option that had so far been missing from all of the UK cars we had at the time. So they introduced this novel concept of reliability. And then they thought, you know what? Let's make them comfortable as well. So back in the 80s, cars like this were just a league above everything that we could get over here. They were comfortable, they were fast. This one had what was at the time a fairly futuristic interior. So translating that into the game, the model that they put together is fabulous. It's almost identical to the real world 80s Prelude. It does have a reasonable amount of customization. You can do quite a lot with it being one of the tuner's cars. So why have I included this? When it's really, this is a bit of a specialist car. This isn't one that you buy to drive, because let's be honest, the drive isn't brilliant. It's front wheel drive, so it doesn't handle particularly well, it doesn't accelerate particularly well, it doesn't have a particularly high top speed. There's nothing about it that's exceptional, except in my case, because when I was younger, my cousin had one of these. My cousin was 4 years older than me, so he got to do all the cool things a few years before I could, including things like driving. So when he started driving, I was insanely jealous. And then when he bought one of these, which I thought was a fabulous car at the time, I was even more jealous. Now, unfortunately, not long after that, he contracted a very rare degenerative brain condition. And within a year, he had passed at the age of 18, which was a tragic loss of life for a really cool kid. So that's why I wanted this one in the game, and that's why I wanted to do this review. So Darren, mate, this one's for you. I hope you approve of the modifications. I've kept it fairly standard. It's the same colour as yours, but I know you would have tweaked it anyway, so I popped a few tweaks on there for you. I'm sure you'd approve. And what that made me think is, so many of the cars in these games can have stories behind them, cars that I've probably derided in the past, things like the Dorado, which I did go on a bit about how ugly that was. But you know, if you had one in your family, I can completely see why you'd want to buy one in the game and do it up like the family one. And like the Reinhardt, where I said it's a good car, but I don't know why you'd buy it in the game. Again, if these are things that have stories within your real life, it's really cool that you can get some of these really oddball, unusual cars and customise them up in a way that they mean something to you. So should you buy this car? Well, in fact, before we look at whether you should buy it, let's have a look at the top speed. And I'm definitely going to have to speed this up because the top speed ain't good. Here you can see what it managed to do. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Should you buy this car? On balance, probably not. It's not very good. As I said earlier, this is a car you buy because you want it. This is something that you buy to have, not to drive, because the drive, it's not great. I mean, the handling's not awful. Considering it's front wheel drive, the handling isn't awful. But the whole speed of the thing, really, there's nothing about it that really stands out, apart from the fact that it is just a little bit unusual. So do you know what? If it's something you fancy, go ahead, pick it up. It's on sale this week at 600,000, down from 900,000, so it's a relative bargain. So if you want to pick this up, it's still available on the Southern San Andreas Supersports website. And here's the final time it managed to do, which, as you can see, isn't brilliant. And here's where it sits on the lap board. I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you all in the next one.